Michael Crichton, who wrote a great book. State of Fear is a really great book. It's novelized of the scam of and the money part of the whole climate scam. But he talks about the fact that science really is about verifying things in the real world. There's not a single peer-reviewed paper, and for those talking points, there's not a single peer-reviewed paper that proves CO2 is driving the warming of the climate. Not a single one. They cannot produce it. So if you ever talk to a climate alarmist, ask them to produce that. And if they do throw something at you from time to time, I have gotten them, and then I read it, and then they always start with this, the premise and the assumption, CO2 is warming the climate. Well, it's warmed, and we have more CO2. Therefore, that happened. Well, there's a lot of correlations out there, like shark attacks or other things that you could claim those same things for. And again, you got the speed of sound, the speed of light, and the speed of money is now the speed of science. Consensus is utterly irrelevant to science. Albert Einstein said when they challenged him, the Nazis didn't like the fact that this Jew came up with something that was really important. And they wrote a book. There are only 20 authors. It tells you about propaganda. There are only 20 authors, but they named the book 100 authors against Einstein. They were German scientists. They refuted his theory of relativity, made some press. You know, of course, you got 20 scientists, 100 scientists claiming he was wrong. And they asked him, and he said, well, if I were wrong, why do they need 100? One would be enough. I think it's the way science actually works. Dr. Will Happer and Dr. Dick Lindzen, professors of physics at MIT and at Princeton, tell us that we no longer have a peer review process. It's been replaced by PAL review. Dr. Lindzen talks about, he had 2 great climate papers that he had published back in the early 90s. And in both cases, the scientific journal that published them, the managers that allowed them to be published were fired. That's how this works. Scientists who know if they don't toe the party line and claim that disaster is going to happen no longer receive federal funding, often lose their jobs. And if they have tenure, at the very least, they know their career path is no longer up. And they don't get invited to the cocktail parties anymore.